Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a Wingard Wearables, two gifts that he sent our way, one for me, one for Jim. Liang Ma's You Tactic line. He sent us two knives to give away. I guess we'll be doing that maybe next week. We'll figure that out. And then, do you EDC a fixed blade and why? What is it and how? I'm curious because I've been watching a lot of people posting videos and pictures on Instagram of their EDC fixed blades, and I'm just curious what they're carrying and how they carry it, and is it the sort of thing that you lose your appetite for halfway through the day? Is it something that not every day, but sometimes I like to carry a fixed blade? And also, do you agree with this statement? If you're willing to wear a phone on your belt, you should be willing to wear a knife on your belt. I know some people, I get it. I don't like stuff in my pockets either. I don't wear a phone on my belt, but I get why people do. So if you do that, do you also allow yourself to wear a knife? I think the answer should be yes. Even a buck 110 would be a cool one. Have a nice day. Nice to have you here. Do I, sir? Yes, I do, sir. As part of my military cultural heritage and as one of our oldest tools. Amen. The blade is also as much part of the Second Amendment as a firearm. So you must exercise the right. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. That's why I don't too much hide the fixed blade knives that I carry in the waistband. As a matter of fact, it's less legal if you hide it in my jurisdiction, though you can hide automatic knives, which is awesome and promising, and definitely thanks to Doug Ritter. Groundfog, nice to have you here, sir. Groundfog is with us. Pete Davidson, also good to have you here. Good day, Bob, Jim, and the rest of the mob. How you blokes doing? Every day I go to work. He's a chef. That's cool. I carry at least 3 fixed blades in my backpack or sling. A long, wide, or short, slim, and something serrated. So long and wide, that's like a chef's blade, like a 10-inch chef's blade, maybe with a wide blade, so you can scoop up the stuff you're chopping and throw it in the hot saute pan. Pete Davidson says, if I'm working on the farm, I generally carry something over 9-inch stuffed into my belt for easy removal. A 4 or 5-inch fixed blade in my pocket and a folding saw completes the package. You know, I've thought a lot about a folding saw, not necessarily for my EDC because that doesn't really fit into my lifestyle, but just to have, just in case, or just to have, every once in a while, one of these trees here will drop a giant limb. And I have actually, not even for that, but maybe for camping or for making a fire out back. I don't know. Let me know what saws are interesting. At home and sometimes at work, I like to carry a fixed blade less than 7 inches in a shoulder rig. That sounds cool. Is that like a DeSantis holster rig, or is that like a Bastinelli? It has great access, doesn't weigh your pants down, easily concealed, and looks grouse. I love that. Grouse. Looks grouse, mate. Fernando Selame. How you doing, Fernando? Hello, knife junkies. This is the knife that Fernando gave me not that long ago. Yes, I carry small black's fixed blade at the 11 o'clock position just in case a zombie jumps out. So I will push him in his place. Put him in his place. Wait. You can't just say a small fixed blade. You got a black fixed blade. You have to tell us what that is, Fernando. You know that's part of the rules. Doug Bowl, I just saw moments before we started rolling. Doug Bowl just became a tactical junkie on Patreon. Doug, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You send me your address, or I will respond to you actually through Patreon, and you'll give me your address so I can get your stickers and your coaster. Thank you, Jim. Jim got us a bunch of coasters, which are awesome. I like them actually even more than stickers. I'm so stickered out. I got so many stickers. Going to Blade Show, that's like, oh, stickers. And then you get home, you're like, what am I going to do with all these stickers? Doug Bowl says, blessings, carriers of the blade. Blessings to you, sir. I carry only one blade, a heavy, thick folder, It has no pocket clip, and it's in my right front pocket. A more secure grip removing it than a pocket clip. I hear that, but what is it? You gotta let us know what it is. And if it's some no name cool knife, whatever it is, describe it. Let us know what it looks like. Adrian FYTR35. I'm going to call you Adrian. How you doing? Good to have you. Heck yes. I carry a Cold Steel serrated Coban. Very nice. I like that Coban. That's a knife I got for my sister when she had an undesirable that was kind of taking too much of an interest. A double agent one, that's a great one. Serrated, which around the neck. Is that the Hawkbill or the Bowie? I have the Bowie, not in serrated. And just today, I started wearing my mini tack Tonto in my waistline. That's a great way to carry the mini tack line. Is in the waistline with a little cord that you can attach to your belt. You pull it, pops right off. Boom. Nick Martino, good to have you here, sir. Happy Thursday Night Knives, everyone. Hashtag DSKFS. Hashtag be up. DSKFS. What is that? Do let me know. Byron, how you doing? Splitting slices. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Visiting grandkids in Arizona. Oh, a lot of people I know have been in Arizona recently. Beautiful state. This weekend won't make the show. Baseball and track. Enjoy Thursday Night Knives. Carry a neck knife daily and smaller EDC fixie 50%. Buck Woodsman or Nova 1. Excellent choices there, sir. Enjoy your time in Arizona with your family. Sword Triple XY. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Carrying a Fred Perrin LaGriff today. I love Fred Perrin, and dadgummit, I have a little Fred Perrin knife that Jock's Knife gave me. One of the last few times he had a knife sent here, he put a little something in it for me in the package, and it's this tiny little nasty one finger ring little hawkbill, and it fits perfectly on the back of my work ID. I have it gaffer's tape back there, so I could just grab it, tear it off if I needed to. But I really like it. So I love Fred Perrin, and the LaGriff is a classic knife that numerous companies have A, licensed, and then B, totally ripped off. Will B, good to have you here, Will. I carry a fixed blade everywhere except around the house. Hi, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, hello, sir. That's interesting. I would imagine a lot of people do it in reverse, just because not everywhere is as friendly to public fixed blade carry. However, that said, probably where I am is the least friendly, and I do it, though I'm not all out in the open with it. I don't care if people see it, but it's definitely not hanging from my belt. Christopher James, good to have you here, Christopher. Let's see, Tops Backbite. I just showed that the other day. That's a cool knife. Utility-clip added to carry horizontal in a 2 o'clock position. 2 o'clock position horizontal. So you draw it out like this, and you have it coming out that way. I was just watching the Colin Despin's video talking about that. It's just it's a 1-minute video, but he from Blade Show, I believe. But he discusses how he does, or the exact purpose of why he designed that knife based around some Russian martial arts. Very interesting. Will B says, I carry everything from your Nova 1 or T-Kel Night Stalker CQC or Wee Stonefish. That's a great knife. To a T-Kel Sapper. Oh, Manaja. I want that one so bad. For smaller ones, cross draw in the front. For bigger ones, on my right side, vertically. Okay. That T-Kel Sapper is so cool. Sorry for all the fixed blade fanatics. I wonder how you're going to answer this one. I only carry fixed blades. Love it. I usually carry a Spyderco Ronin 2. I love that knife. That's actually oftentimes the knife I have on me during Thursday Night Knives, because I take everything out of my pockets and show it off. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. Craig Vincent recently sent me this, and I traded him He sent me this in a kukri. What a cool knife this is. This is a Cold Steel Twist Master. And it's just like an open L, but a big, tough Cold Steel tactical open L. Craig says, evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow blade heads. So this here, this is one way, whereas an open L is two way, but that is a collar lock. So you just turn it. I like the way it has studs for gription, and it's right in place. This has a deep belly. Look at the belly on this one. This is a medium, and that is, how much is that? I'm guessing 3.5. It's 3 and 7. Let's see. Sorry, man. Let's see, what is that? 5/8. That took me a second. 3 and 5/8 inches, so just a little over 3.5. Nice knurling on this. I love this knife. Great thing. Great thing. And I always wanted one of these. I always slept on it and then lost my chance, just like and so Craig hooked me up, knowing, listening. He's a good listener, and he knew that I wanted one of those. So I appreciate it. I hope you like the Steel Tiger. I had one other thing to say, but it slipped my mind. Have a knife day. I'm carrying my new clip point S-Guard stag handle Bowie that I purchased recently at the James Black Bowie Heritage Festival, made by David Warmington. Got a worm on my hip. Oh, dude, I can't wait. Wait. Well, I can't wait to see this knife, but I feel like I've heard of him before. David Wormington. I think I might should know him. Is that how he's Steve the Ripper? Good to have you here, Steve. Carrying a small Vicks blade horizontally on the belt. My TK Night Stalker. That's what I had on me today. I'll show that in a second. It is my go-to. It's kind of my go-to too. I also really like the Auxiliary Manufacturing Bottle Rocket. I also have that one with the 3-inch dagger that I saw on this channel and had to pick up. Well, Steve, you're a man of great taste. But this I gotta say, this Night Stalker, I have a couple of knives that I always come back to: the Night Stalker, the Nova 1, and now the Nova 2. But the Night Stalker is the perfect shape perfect size and width for front belt carry, front scout. I don't know what you call it, but with that ring, it draws perfectly, so quickly, so easy to access, and shockingly thin against the body. I mean, really, just a t-shirt, and it covers it. This comes right down and it covers it, and it's so discreet. That's why when I designed the where is that? The Agent 001, I made it the same length for that same sort of sheathing and cross draw, or reverse grip draw, I guess is what it is. Anyway, Stephen Clayton, speaking of TKL knives, good to have you here, Stephen. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I EDC several TKL fixed blades. I boot appendix out and in the waistband. Wait. OIWB, out and in the waistband. Okay, I got you. So belt carry, sometimes in, sometimes out. Pocket, scout, neck, and a modified shoulder rig. So you truly are, who was that? Lou Diamond Phillips in the first Young Guns, with just all the knives. And that's the guy I always wanted to be too. Just like, what? And somehow bullets just keep going by me and I get to have just the knives. And I would have guns too. I like guns, especially shotguns. That's kind of my that's what I really like. Pete Davidson says Galco shoulder rigs work great. If you're thinking of a folding saw, check out Silky. All right. Good variety. They work and are wombat proof. All right. I'm going to need something like that, Pete. Thank you, sir. That's what I like. I like these kind of vetted comments from the people that know. Craig Vincent says, I still carry all my blades all the time in every o'clock position. Excellent. Every o'clock should be covered. Pat D's nuts. How you doing, Pat? Hello to all my friends. Why your interview with the undercover PO? Oh, wait. Huh? Why your interview with the undercover PO. Uh, what Asher Fixie soon to be replaced by the Lucky 13 Nova 2? Not so soon, but where Appendix Scout style. So why your interview with the undercover PO? I don't get that. What's the undercover PO? What's a PO? I know I'm being a flake, but help me out, Pat. Help this old flake out. I can't wait to get the Nova 2 in your belt line. Billy Spar, good to have you here, Billy. Carried a fixed blade. Yes, I've been carrying fixed blades more and more. Really, yeah, me too. Really is giving my folders a run for their money. MKC Speed Goat. I love that name. So that's Montana Knife Company. Speed Goat. I think that's what Tim Kennedy said he carries right now. The mini Speed Goat and the Blackfoot. I've heard only great things about Montana Knife Company. I got to get them/him, can't remember his name, onto the show, though. Hashtag do something kind for someone. Oh. Is that what DSKFS was? Okay. All right. Do something kind for someone. Thank you. I need some of you youngsters to keep me connected to the world in there. Fernando says, I carry the 302 Black Blade by Aaron Bieber. Do I have mine out? I think I do. Yes. I've been carrying mine recently too. This is another one that carries great. I just used this soft loop that it shipped with, but it carries great front horizontal and reverse grip. I love this thing, the 302. Yeet Feet. Nice to have you here, Yeet. Should I get the Rough Rider Black Mule Bowie or the Lightning Elite out the front? Yes is the answer. Well, here's the thing. I would go with the Rough Rider. I would go with that. That is such a great $25 a Bowie knife. It's in 3CR something 18, 3CR 13 MOV. I'm not sure what it is, but that 3CR is a great steal for that kind of big, cheap outdoor knife. It turns out Cold Steel with their bubble wrapped big box store line that came out a couple of years ago, they were using 3CR, and you can use those things till the cows come home. And I found that personally with the Black Mule. The problem I had is the handle came off and or started that way because the handle's a little cheap, but remounting the blade it's got a nice big long tang. Actually Byron sent me a year ago, and I said, I'm doing it this summer. So a year ago, he sent me 4 blocks of beautiful wood to remount my Black Mule Bowie, which I'm doing this summer. And it's got to be summer just because of my circumstances. But that blade is fantastic. And I put it through a lot of abuse, and it stayed very sharp. That's what I'm trying to get at. Still stayed sharp, and it just did tons of batoning. The Lightning out the front it was good, but it rattled. I think and out the front is worth saving up for. And you don't have to save up $300. There are some companies that are making some great out the fronts, like Neckforce, I think, for much less. So I would save up for that. I would spend the money if you're looking to spend $40 or so, or that around that budget for a knife, and it's between those two, get the Black Mule Bowie. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Cold Steel Collector 808, good to have you here. Aloha Junkies, finally have a Thursday night off to catch a live. Well, it's awesome to have you here. And aloha. Sounds like you're in a sweet place. My EDC fixed blade is the SRK in 3V. Oh, nice. Kept in my EDC sling bag. Okay. First of all, I love that SRK. I have an old one, an SK5, I think, from the early 2000s. And to your sling bag comment, I carry, oftentimes I'll have this in my sling bag, the what is this, the Sear from Station 9, or I'll have this actually, even more often than the Sear, I'll have the Partisan in my bag. And I consider that in EDC because I always have my backpack, it with me. on work days. I don't bring it around with me all the time, like if I'm just running out to Home Depot or something. But so I kind of consider that an EDC when it's with me, whatever is big like that. Danzig rules. Good to have you here, Danzig. Good evening, knife people. I have way too many fixed blades to really stick with one. I hear you, I hear your pain, sir. But today I was carrying the Colonel Blades NCO, one of the first runs. So that's that cool blade that's in the form factor of a pistol, and your finger goes through a sort of teardrop shaped trigger well, if you will, and it's got a dagger, or I think sometimes, yeah, I think you can get it either way, dagger or sort of bayonet grind, and but it presents itself more like a pistol. I love that. And to me, yes, it's like a pistol. And if you're used to that, and that's your mode that you're used to, that's a great way to engage with the knife. But I also like it because it reminds me of kind of Indonesian, Malaysian, Filipino blades with that extreme blade angles. I love that stuff. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I've been carrying a Cold Steel Steel Tiger lately with the usual Cold Steel load. Nice. That Twistmaster looks like its Opinel mother, acts like its Cold Steel father. Actually, that's great. And then you actually mentioned in an email to me that though you hadn't opened this one, I mean, this was pretty much new in box. You hadn't really opened this. That the blade shape is different. The belly on this is much more extreme than yours. So interesting. They did a couple of different iterations of this, and I know they did a number of different sizes. And I'll casually place that down. And so larger than this, smaller than this, and different blade shapes as well. Joseph S., good to have you here, Joseph. Good evening, everyone, he says. Good evening to you, sir. Wait, which one is impolite? That's impolite, right? So good evening, sir. Added a fixie to the EDC last year, starting with the mini tack. Excuse me. Thanks to your recommendation, the collection has grown since then. Pardon me. Which mini tack? Did you get the Bowie? Because I know last year I was talking about the mini tack because Dave, this old sword, sent me one that I always wanted, that like slender Skinner. And then I added that to the Kiradashi I already had, and then I got the Bowie. It's a great little knife. Great knife. Doug Bowl says, Bob, it's just the 1980s Old Faithful SOG winder, my backup on the police department. 3.75-inch spear point, Craton grips. Okay, I'm remembering this one now. And the steel bolsters. Have trained with it for many years. It was a lifesaver. I have its little brother. I got it in the summer of 1991 in Boston, in a knife shop in Boston. Can you imagine that? I'm sure that's not a thing at all now, but it was on Newberry Street, and I lived a block away from there, and it was like the coolest summer. It was the first summer away, and I was going to an art program there. It was so cool. And I bought a knife to commemorate that. That's what I've always done in my life. I've like bought stuff to commemorate the things, and usually it's been a knife. And in this case, that was like my first pocket knife, tactical knife. And the same thing, had the bolsters, had the Craton grippy handle, and it had sort of that classical SOG shape recurve, but it doesn't have the dual hump on the spine. It's a straight spine and then a clip. But just that recurve, it just looks like a SOG all day long. An old SOG, Mac V SOG folding knife, but no pocket clip, no thumb stud, just a nail neck, but a lockback, strong as hell. Awesome knife. I can't remember what it's called. Wildcat, maybe? Pete Davidson says, one fixed blade I'm playing with today is an O-Knife Fortitude, 4.5 inches D2 blade, and thick enough for general tawtry and mongoose. Twattery. I'm sorry. For general twattery and mongoose-like behavior. I'm going to start using that too. Maybe not in mixed company, though. It will also shave the taint off a low-flying duck. Okay. Well, I definitely won't be using that part, but man, you got to be careful when the taint is concerned. As a matter of fact, little known fact, the taint is a huge target in knife fighting. It's one of those spots where, boom, you can kill someone really quickly. in the taint, just like with the femoral arteries and under the armpits and the clavicles and that taint shot. It's one that we all want to pretend is just not there, but well, this is a great way to change up the conversation. The budget guy KT, good to have you here, sir. Be up, y'all. Okay, let's not talk about being up anyone's taint anymore. I really appreciate you interrupting that conversation, because Craig Vincent says, Bob, I don't know if you heard about Friday's Amazon debacle. I ordered 59 knives. Craig Vincent, 30 were cold steels. Well, at least, and 3 XL espadas for $8 each. Okay, Amazon canceled all 3 days later. This reminds me of a story, Craig. When I was living in New York City and I was a freelance producer, and I had finished a job, and things were starting to get a little tight, and I lived across the street from A, my bank, and B, my coffee shop, and they got I deposited my meager check, I guess, right after they deposited their large check, and they somehow got my smaller check was transposed onto their larger check, and for like 2 or 3 days I had $6,000 suddenly, bam, in my checking account, and I was like, I don't know how this happened, but I'll be goddamned if I'm not going to take advantage of it. I was younger and stupider, and I remember I bought a cool jacket, and because I needed a winter jacket, but I didn't just buy a winter jacket, I bought like a really cool one. And then it was like, the bank was like, oh, by the way, we totally messed up. Sorry, we took all that money out of your. I was like, but I made all these irresponsible purchases in the meantime, and somehow they didn't care. I was like, but it doesn't work that way. They messed up, and then they realized it, and then they didn't care about me at all or my needs. And so, Craig, sorry, you flew a little too close to the sun, sir. J Rocket, good to have you here. J Rocket 092887 87. You're okay. No. Okay. SE3 6HM. What's 6HM? But I know what the SE3 is, and I love that one. Hard to beat. Multiple carry options and good for all types of work. Okay, so J Rocket, sell me on an SE. I have the Hungless, or its predecessor, the RTAC 2, but that's a big, vulgar outdoors knife. The SE3 seems to be a great everyday fixed blade, and I've never gotten one. Try in one sentence to convince me if you can, because there's no reason why I shouldn't have one. I know that sounds really spoiled and stupid, but what I mean is, if I'm going to spend money on a small fixed blade knife to EDC, that has always been presented as a good one. So why should I get that one? Yeet Feet says, thank you. Love these streams. Well, my pleasure. Always, always. Too easy. Pat D's Nuts says, the undercover narcotics police officer that had to deploy a fixed blade several times to save his life, he said he will never carry a folder. I really kind of feel that way too. I really do. Unless, like, to me personally, that has been coming into sharp relief carrying knives like this, which is beautiful. I don't care what you think about the color. It is beautiful, even in royal purple, royal and regal and holy purple. But man, I'd be damned if I had to pull this out and use it like super quickly and not like, drop it or misfire it. I don't know, because of the adrenaline situation. Ajax Racing, good to have you here, Ajax. Ajax, one of my favorite characters, both of them in the Iliad. There was Ajax the Minor, and then Ajax the Great with the hammer. I loved him. He was cool. And then Ajax had his great shield, and his brother or friend Teucer was the small archer, and he would hold his giant shield down, and then his archer friend would hide behind the shield and just shoot arrows. And that was at a time when archers were considered to be, less than courageous. But in this situation, it was super cool. Okay, sorry about that. Ajax Racing, cross draw only. Only way to go. Buck 119. I love it. This man is carrying a Buck 119. That is a cool knife. I mean, not only a cool knife, but a classic and kind of it's got an air of menace, let's just say. It's such a swashbuckling clip point, and it's also been featured in horror movie posters, Scream or one of those movies. That was the 120, but same blade shape, just a little bit shorter. I really respect that. Do you use it in the sheath it comes with, which I think is great for dangle, but is that how you carry it, in the sheath it came with? Stephen Clayton says, my TCal sapper rides in or on my sling bag. Oh, I need a sapper. It's a moral imperative. Adrian says, cold steel, thumbs up. And all right. Well, since you're okay, let me show you a couple. I have a couple cool ones out here. May as well show them. That's what we're doing here, right? The budget guy says, I carry a lot of belt fixed blades. Sometimes I pocket carry the sea snake. I love the sea snake. The sea snake. My favorite belt knife is the cold steel drop forged Bowie. Okay, so there's the drop forged Bowie and the drop Bowie survivalist, I think it's called. That's also a clip point. That's more of a straight clip point, like the sear I was just showing. And then the one you're talking about, the Bowie, has a really cool curved handle and a longer, slender fighting Bowie blade. I like that. I've not had any of the drop forge knives, but I would like to. I don't know. I'll just pull these out because we were talking about cold steel. Speaking of which, Cold Steel Collector 808 says, same here on work days. I have my sling bag on off. Running errands, I'll usually carry a folder. Recently, it's been the Frenzy. That's a great folder if you're going to do a one knife solution. But I always have a Leatherman on my belt. So this has been really my go-to. Home defense knife sounds ridiculous, but let me just say, when I'm letting the guard down and hanging out and watching a movie with the wife, I know that there are firearms close at hand, but right at hand is this. I've been, ever since I got it, this Cold Steel Sax, though I have a lot of great other knives and I'll bring them out too, but this is the one that I just put on the arm of my recliner, and it's like, if I needed to, and by the way, I don't recline, or I'm out like a light, like immediately out. So I have to sit up straight. But this is what I have with me in case someone, rushes through the window or the room. That's big enough to take off what I need to take off. And I love the sheath. This is a great knife and not very expensive. Made in India by Windlass Cutlery. They did a great job on this. Yeet Feet, man, I need to get a cold steel knife. I don't have one yet. Oh, Yeet Feet. All right, so let me just say before I get to the budget guy, Yeet Feet, you can get behind the wheel of a cold steel for as little as $15, and it'll be great. If you want to just like get your feet wet, or maybe you don't have the means at the moment to go and get a Bowie knife or a sheath, you can do the Roach Belly. That is awesome. The Roach Belly is an awesome knife. I have one, and I have mine. It's not here with me, but I have it wrapped in this. I did the handle with this sort of cord, and I've really personalized it. I made a separate sheath for it. I love it. It's a $15 knife, and it's cheap steel, great handle. It's based on like a scalper or an early American rifleman's knife. And the thing that really sold me on it is first of all, it's under $20. And also, when I was living in New York, I met a guy who had been traveling. He was a cousin of a friend of mine. He'd been traveling for a year or two, like a really long time, just kind of couch surfing and camping and just kind of whatevering his way across country and around the country. And he had one knife, and it was the Roach Belly. And he's he was like, "Oh, I carry a Cold Steel." It's like, and I was like, "Oh, what is it?" And he pulled out the Roach Belly, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And internally, I was disappointed. I wanted to see him with a Trail Master or something, and he was like, "Oh no, it's small, it's light. Well, it's like a 4.5-inch blade. It's light, it's cheap, and it maintains a decent edge." And he had this thing that was his one knife for like over a year, just being a bum, being like a what do you call it, hobo, I guess, or I don't know what you call that. He was a millennial, so just being a millennial. So I would say just do it. I mean, if you got $15 for a knife and you want a Cold Steel, start there. It's a great place to start. And then that's the great thing about that company. It has so many micro tiers in terms of what you're going to spend and what performance you're going to get out of it. Anyway, I've said enough. I love Cold Steel. Adrian says, I just got the Mini Tac Bowie yesterday. Love it. Yeah, that's a great knife. Stephen Clayton, I carry fixed blades because they are immediately ready to go when deployed. I also EDC the Glock 43X and Bond Arms Rowdy XL. That's cool. Wait. Before you switch out of there, Jim, just go back. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. The Bond Arms. I know you mentioned one of those in an email to me. I love those things. They're little Derringers, basically. And then the Glock 43X. Okay, I have the what's the X? I have the 43, but what's the X? Is that a double stack? I guess that would not be a 43. Cold Steel Collector says the Leatherman and Folder cover pretty much everything I would need anyway. Plus, the free P4 has multiple blades on it and also works out. And I have to find a task I couldn't get done. Yeah, but what's the P4? Wait, is that a Leatherman type? What's the P4? I'm being not obtuse, but stupid. Watching Cut, good to have you here, Alex. Good evening, Bob and Jim, everyone. Alex, do you have any Cold Steels in your collection? I think you might have maybe you have an actual Demco 15, don't you? Let me know. Do you have any Cold Steel? Because I know if you do, it will be a special one because Alex's collection, everything he has a little bit of his own personality in it, which I think is super cool. Tree Stabbin' Troy, good to have you here, Tree Stabbin'. Good to have you here, Troy. I carried my Essie Azula 2 in an Armitage sheath for the last 5 years. I don't know Armitage, but that sounds like it's a good company if you carried for 5 years. My pocket knife changes daily, but my Azula 2 is always with me. So that's how I kind of feel about it. There's always got to be a front right pocket knife, even if I'm using something like this, an in-pocket fixed blade. The in-pocket fixed blade will pretty much always be in the left pocket. Excuse me, because I have to have folders on me. Jeremiah Brady, good to have you here, Jeremiah. My first time catching you live. Well, it's awesome to have you. Keep your comments coming. Let me know what you're carrying. Actually, I think right after we talked to Budget Guy, the SE3 is an absolutely awesome EDC or bag blade. Does that have a swedge? Does it come with a swedge? Everyone, let me know and tell me after. Wait, I was on Matisfaction Live when the Amazon debacle happened. I was wondering how that turned out. Oh, my God. All right, guys. All that said, let us get to a pocket check. One I haven't carried in a little while, the Hinderer XM18. This was a DLT exclusive, no choil, Warncliffe. Dropped this one on the tip years ago, sent it to Jared Neve, and he sharpened off enough of this M390 to obscure the giant divot at the blade tip. He did a beautiful job, and man, that is just one of my crosses to bear. Is my clumsiness and my apparent willingness to just drop knives on their tips when I'm over cement or concrete flooring. Today I had this, used it to open up a couple of food bags, and I gotta say, it's a little disappointing because it's so thick behind the edge. It's very sharp, but this would be great for fighting and hurting people, because it's very stabby and it's very sharp, and with pressure or with pressure and dynamism like a slash, it'd be horrifying and nasty. But for everyday, like to get a real nice thin through a plastic bag, this is like it ends up ripping it, because it's pretty thick behind the edge. But I don't care. I had other things on me today to do such tasks, like this. I had the Benny's clip from Jack Wolf Knives in maroon micarta back when he was doing micarta. Back when Jack Wolf Knives was offering micarta, he would send me a lot of them because he knows I love it. And this one had an odd. This was an olive drab green micarta, and it just took on that sort of dusty look that some micarta takes on. Maybe when, my theory is, it's been polished or ground down to a surface where it's not presenting the fabric, it's presenting more of the epoxy or whatever it is. And no matter how much oil I would put on it, it just wouldn't stay in there. So I dyed it. I dyed it maroon, and despite what you might see here, it came out really beautifully. Doesn't look so good right here. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the background. There we go. All right. So yeah, that maroon really kind of saved the micarta for me on this one. So I had this on me, of course, in the little leather slip. I mentioned before, this was my fixed blade on my waistband, of course, with my logo on it. I love this. This was a freebie that came in my package when I ordered the Combatant from Tim. I was so dying for the Combatant, and honest to goodness, I was not interested in the Night Stalker or the MR1. I was kind of just not into ringed things at all. And this was the first AEBL run of any knife he had ever done, and so he dropped this in the package and put my logo on it. And this was the knife. This knife definitely eclipsed the Combatant as my favorite, though I love that knife also. I find that the Combatant is I don't know why, it's a great around the house knife. Like, it's one I go to way more around the house or choring. And then this is an out and about. To me, this is like I just feel like I could quickly draw this and use it if I needed to defend myself pretty easily. And that's what TKL Knives is all about. Speaking of all about, this was my emotional support knife. This is also a fixed blade knife that is all about self-defense. This is the Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert, in the pocket defensive fixed blade. It is not intended to be an EDC knife, though it makes an outstanding EDC knife. I had to break that to its designer, Chaz Fisher. He was just on the show. Well, he will be on the show in a couple of weeks here, but just interviewed him and had to tell him, in carrying this knife, mostly in the left pocket. It has a right-handed sheath here, but he also sent me a left-handed sheath. But the right-handed sheath is great for left pocket reverse grip draw. So I've been carrying it a lot like that. Today, it was not on my person. It would not have worked out with my day. Some days I can't wear as many knives due to who I'm around and such. But this one was sort of doing desk duty in one of the folders on my desk. So there it is. This was my lineup for the day. I had the Hinderer XM18, I'm going to say it, DLT, exclusive no choil Warncliffe from, I don't know, maybe 4 years back. Jack Wolf Knives, Benny's clip, which, man, still Just the walk and talk on these damn knives. Amazing. The decal knives, Night Stalker, and the Fisher blades, Beckwith, Covert. Charles Beckwith, Colonel Charles Beckwith, the guy, Army legend who started Delta Force. I read a book by and about him, by and about starting Delta Force. Very interesting. Alex says, today's carry was the Grimsmo Rask V2. Just got it yesterday. That's cool. It's absolutely fantastic. And a Tissot C-Star 1000 on the wrist. Now, I know no relation, right? That's cool. I always thought they made beautiful watches, and I bought my wife one before she switched over to the iWatch. Those freaking iWatches. It's like a little bit of death on your wrist. I cannot stand those things. Sorry to anyone who has one, who I know they're very handy. My mom has one. She loves it. Donald Fry. Good to have you here, Donald. Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies, been trying to add fixed blades into my EDC routine, rotating between Bradford Guardian 3 and excellent choice. I wish I had one. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride, Bob. Just go buy one. And Spyderco Street Beat, which I love. Don't throw it. I broke the tip off of mine being an idiot. But what a great knife that is. I have to replace it or at least resharpen, reprofile mine. The Street Beat is great. But if you're trying to, as you say, trying to add a fixed blade into your EDC routine, the Street Beat might not be the way to go unless you have a different sheath made for it, because I know they have the big pancake sheath with the two sides. So Bradford is also great. Can try something that has, I also would suggest something that has a taco style sheath with an in the waistband clip and see how you like that. You might like that. Here, I'll put this out. This is an awesome knife. I haven't carried this in a while. This is my Kramer Custom Voodoo, which I had double-edged. Craig Vincent says, I guess somebody hacked the seller's prices. That's so lame. Everyone was buying knives. Topps, Essie, Kershaw, Cold Steel, a total of $4,000 in knives coming in for $400. I was going to send knives to everyone. It's Christmas in May. Wow, man. The budget guy says, couldn't pass up the price of $42 on a drop forged Bowie. I love the shape of the blade of that one, too. Does that have a swedge? Jeremiah Brady says, I just bought my first case. Oh, which one? Okay, I bet you're about to tell me. Black PVD coated blade with vintage bone sodbuster. Black PVD coated. I have not seen this. I love the Sodbuster Junior. I have one, and it's in that yellow Delrin, that really old school boxy yellow Delrin handle. It's very comfortable, and it's got the CV, the carbon steel blade, amazingly sharp, great patina. I love it, but I haven't seen one with the black PVD coating. That sounds really cool. Craig Vincent, Roach Belly Outdoorsman Light, Slock Master Fixed. I think that's something else. Something else Master Fixed. Fin Bear, Peacemaker 2 or 3, and Canadian belt knife. All inexpensive, awesome fixies. Okay, I don't have the Canadian belt knife. I've always wanted to get that. I have the Hunter Light. It's in this series too. Oh, wait. Maybe it's whatever the Master Fixed. That's in my wife's survival bag. Great knife. The Outdoorsman Light is like the Outdoorsman Regular, which was just like the Tonto. Really, very much like the Master Tonto, except with a more traditional style blade and a bone breaking swedge. Which, who doesn't want a bone breaking swedge? Yeah. Excellent. Wait, where's my thing? I almost wore a Breathe Right strip, and my daughter's like, "You can't wear a Breathe Right strip." I'm like, "You're right. That would be no, I'd be taking it. I'm already practically like, anyway." Cold Steel Collector 808 says, "Yeah, Leatherman free P." Oh, okay. Free P4. Gotcha. Pete Davidson, love your recliner knife. Mine is a 13-inch Magnum Tonto. Yes, Pete. I love that. A very muscular choice, sir. Yeet Feet says, what was the first Bowie called that was just shown? Oh my God, that was like 10 minutes ago. How am I supposed to remember that? Hang on one sec. Is it? I have this, the Frontier that I showed. This is a bit of a Bowie. Showed this. Is it one of those two? This is the Cold Steel 1917 Frontier Bowie. And this one is the Station 9 Sear knife. I think it's their number 8. They number everything. This thing is pretty sweet. Really great, like sort of all around survival / fighting knife, or maybe fighting / survival knife is more like it. Will be Bob. Armitage is the company that made the sheath for my Ronin 2. Okay, they do great work. Okay, I knew I had heard that before. Dopey, good to have you here, Dopey. I EDC multiple flick. Sorry. Dopey says, I EDC multiple fixies on a daily basis. The CRKT in the shoe. What? Either Converse or work boots. I carry a mini Elementum fixie as a neck knife and a Ritter Hogue fixie appendix carry. Ritter Hogue, awesome. Wait. But what's the thanks, Jim. What is the CRKT in the shoe? Tell me about that. Which knife is it? Is it the Sting? That's a little big. The Ritter Hogue is a custom leather sheath made by Fight or Flight Leatherworks. I like the name, and I used to have that knife. That's a great knife. I gave that one to Shane, and because he had given me a sweet S110V Mannix, so I had to give him that. I knew he would like it, so got him that. Tree Stabbing Troy says Amazon thing has been dubbed E-Cop Gate. E-Cop Gate. I love gate on everything. You know, Watergate happened 50 years ago. And to this day, everything scandalous ends in gate, and I love it. There are lots of gates. And if you think about it hard, I should Google it, because there were things for a while, like in the 90s, everything was gate, every scandal. It's kind of funny. Will B says, today's carry, the Grimsmo Norseman, the ZT0562 tie. I kind of regret getting rid of my 062 way back in the day, the cheaper one with S35, I guess it was, and black G10. Spyderco Mannix 2XL, the Kaiser Phoenix, that's Mattisfaction's knife. We're going to be talking to Mattisfaction sometime soon. Very much looking forward to that. The Kaiser Mini Paragon, Axial Shift, T-Kel Knives, Night Stalker CQC, Riot Exo, Olight 3, and the Karis Bolt V2. And that last thing is a pen. Very nice carry. Per usual, it looks like you're light a knife or two, but very respectable carry. Alex says, yes, I do. I used to have a few. The only cold steel I own is a Talwar XL fully serrated. I love that one. It's a monster. So, Alex, when they came back out with the Talwar, that was the first thing I did with Cold Steel in that season of Cold Steel, their GSM acquisition days. They offered that, and I was like, I always regretted not getting that very knife, and so I did. Cold Steel Collector says, today's carry, Cold Steel Frenzy, Cold Steel SRK 3V. You got to tell me what the Cold Steel Frenzy 1, 2, or 3, and that's a color thing. Or what color is it? SRK 3V Olight I5T, and that's all I'm willing to share. Lynn Thompson voice. Yeah, there's like 10 others, and they're all warm when he hands them to you. Nah. Donald, yes, but Donald Fry says, hi, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Rotating between Bradford Guardian 3, a Spyderco Street Beat, set up for a horizontal cross draw. T-Kel will be my first stop at Blade Show. Hopefully. And I have no control over this, but there'll be some of these there. So if you're interested, check it out. This knife community is awesome, says Adrian. Adrian, I could not agree anymore. Even if I tried. Eat Feet, what's your favorite knife to carry around the house? Got to say that changes. Like, it does change. So in the winter, it might be something larger. Like this one was doing a lot of duty. This is Dirk Pinkerton custom Razorback, right? Is that what this is called? The Razorback. It's a double-edged fighting knife based on a Middle Eastern design and an American design, a Bowie and a Khanjar, basically. And by the way, if you want to get into fixed blade custom knives, you cannot go wrong with Dirk Pinkerton. His grinding is incredible. You know him a lot for his designs that are folders that get made by the likes of Kaiser and those kind of companies, but he also hand makes knives, and he is amazing at it. Like this super thin hollow grind on the top and on the bottom on this. And I bought this from him. It was not, if you're buying any expensive folding knife, you could get this for less. Let me just say. Anyway, that said, this one did a lot in the winter. It's a little bit bigger and has stouter clothing to hold it up. Oftentimes, I'll go with where is it? Lately, it's been most lately it's been the Nova 2. Been carrying this a lot around the house. Been carrying this a lot, just period. But also the Hornbeak Necromance. This has been getting a lot of carry. And then when it gets really warm out and I'm in sort of like shorts and stuff like that, lighter shorts and stuff like that, it'll mostly be probably this. And if I'm wearing a belt, this. Or hopefully the new, hopefully by the time it's really warm, I'm carrying an Agent 001. But the smaller knives, like, this is about, how long is this? Yeah, 3 5/8 inches in blade length and a shorter handle than that. This is pretty good for that kind of light shorts carry. Tree Stab and Troy says today's carry, Jack Wolf Knives Pioneer Jack blacked out. That Pioneer Jack was a cool one. So that's the one that's based on the Sodbuster. Large Spartan Harzy PJ. What's the PJ? Large Spartan Harzy PJ, Leatherman Surge, Olight Mini Warrior, and Miyazula 2. Wait, but what is the Large Spartan Harzy PJ? PJ. Why am I'm drawing a blank. Drawing a blank. Let me know what that is. Craig Vincent says today was the 8010, the 8010 Light Tonto. Oh, that's nice. I like the shape of that Tonto. The SR1 Light Tonto? I didn't even know they made an SR1 Tonto. I don't think I've ever seen that. Steel Tiger, excellent choice. Tylite XL, Silver Eye, Range Boss, Lucky 2, PM3, Rough Rider Doctor's Knife with spatula. Nice that it has the spatula. Thank you for stipulating, because I would have said, hey, Craig, does that have the spatula? And you'd say, Bob, I tell you this every week. Yes, it's got the spatula. Richard, Jay Richard, good to have you here, Jay. Hi, all. Got my Null Knives Raikou. Is that how you pronounce it, Raikou? I'm not sure, but I have to say, especially coming out of a slip joint and fixed blade phase and getting excited about folders again. It's been a while with Microtech and stuff. I have to say, I have always admired the Null knives, especially the Raiden. To me, is that what it's called? Is there one called the Raiden? Well, every Null knife I've ever seen, beautiful. I just love the way they look. And they also seem like they're in my size range, and they also seem like really good users, not just lookers. And, I'm superficial and I like looks a lot when it comes to knives. Craig Vincent says the Schlockmaster has two versions, a folding hunter and a 8-inch fixed blade. Both are laser beams. Schlockmaster? Craig, What kind of a name is Slockmaster? That sounds dirty or derogatory. Slockmaster. What am I missing? I think I'm missing something. Could be Thursday night at 11 o'clock, though. Pete Davidson says, O Knife Fortitude, Victorinox Explorer, Delica Warncliffe K390, the Karambit with Karambit ring, very nice, wave opener, and titanium scales and hardware. Wow. Delica Warncliffe K390 with Karambit ring, wave opener, and titanium scales. That sounds really cool. And hardware. Pair of knives, Bowie XL. Oh, I know what you're talking about with the smooth contoured handle and everything. And well-loved Cold Steel ODA. I always wanted not always wanted, but now I want an ODA. And I also want the Combat Classic and the knives in that sort of series. The only one I ever got from that was the OSS. Which is an awesome. It's like a cheap version of the Black Bear Classic. Love it. Robert Von Darth, good to have you here, Robert. I would carry a fixed blade, but I live in Seattle. Those through still have Wild West any law knife laws on the books. So I see what you're saying. You're in Seattle, and that says it all. Believe me, I lived in New York, so I can say that, and I live right outside DC. But you're also saying you got some old laws in place from the old days when people were actually fighting with knives and stuff. Leave your Bowie knife at the county line. I don't know what that accent is. Please excuse it. Jacob Green, nice to have you here, Jacob. I frequently EDC a Mora knife, hands bowl, and the Scandi grind is amazing at cutting through foam boards at work. Oh, that's okay. I think there are a lot of great things for this. This is the companion. I'm not sure which one is the cans bowl, but Mora knives in general, I like. I only have two. I have the old fashioned one with the red wooden handle, and I have this one, and they're very impressive. They feel great in the hand. They really, really are just great cutting knives, but they're also happen to be outstanding weapons per Ed Calderon. And he told a funny story on the podcast where he was at Blade Show and kind of went to Mora Knife and was checking all the knives out. And he was like telling them what great weapons they are. And they were kind of like, thanks. Like that is not their intended purpose. However, they are awesome at that. But I can also see how foam board after foam board after foam board just goes screaming, knowing that a Scandi ground Mora knife is coming after it. Yeah, I bet this is great for that. Robert Von Darth, I would carry a D-guard Bowie. Dude, from your picture, it looks like it would be apropos, man. A D-guard Bowie sounds good. Yeah, something with like some a D-guard Bowie that looks kind of like the D-guard looks like this. So it would be kind of like here. This isn't quite a Bowie, but it would be something like this. Maybe without the individual finger rings, but with some spikes, because those spikes are awesome. Not even necessarily for a straight in punch, but for a raking strike. You know, like a hammer fist, you hit with that knob, or a raking strike. And imagine you have a Bowie knife. So I don't do anything stupid. I'm going to use this ruler. But imagine you have a D-guard Bowie knife with some nubbins on there, and while you're in a melee, you undercalculate or over swing, and you don't hit with the blade, but you rake across the target with these things. And then I guess as you follow through, you still get them with the blade. But the point is, those are there for a reason. And it's not just for that straight in punch. It's for that raking motion. And I think on a blade, if you're going to go through the trouble of making a D-guard already, you may as well put some nubbins or some swells or some sort of action on the back of that D-guard. What do you think about that? Is that overdoing it? Is that too Mall Ninja? Is that Road Warrior? Or is that what a D-guard is actually calling for? Craig Vincent says, I canceled my third Mayhem to buy those other knives. That was not a judgy chuckle, by the way. I love that you have 3 Mayhem, or we're going to have 3 Mayhem. It was on sale for a ridiculous $110 from a different seller. Then the other knives got canceled, but the Mayhem went back to regular price. Of course it did. Of course it did. Tree Stabbing Troy says, PJ, plain Jane. I gotcha. Oh, okay. Thank you. Hey, what's up, Tomas? Good to have you here, sir. Thursday night knives, let's go, says Tactical Tavern. Oh, dude, I love your videos. I'm always all about your videos, man. Good stuff and great taste in all sorts of cool tactical fixed blade knives. Plus, or not just fixed blade knives, cool knives that definitely have a more martial purpose. Plus, great energy, man. I love your channel, and I think you do awesome work. Can't wait to see you at Blade Show. Eugene Krabs says, wasn't today's carry, but received the Spartan Blades Raider Dagger. Ooh, I have one right here. I love this knife. In the mail today, such a badass. So this is what Eugene's talking about right here. And this is the Raider Dagger based on, this was the precursor to the M3 trench knife. And that, right, yeah. This was the precursor to the M3 trench knife, which then they transitioned out of that into the K-bar. But so this is a Les George design. Les George is a former jarhead or former Marine, great guy, very funny guy, and a lover of daggers. And he is especially loves the old 1918 knuckle duster dagger there, trench dagger, and he's been doing a lot of castings of those bronze handles. But he designed this for the Spartan line, where they make them in Taiwan. Awesome manufacturer in Taiwan. Taiwan manufacturers, they're pretty much the best, in many ways. I mean, when you look at Spyderco, if you ask me, I think those are the best Spyderco knives. But anyway, such a great knife and made somewhat affordable. It depends on what affordable is to you, but go check it out at Spartan Blades or elsewhere. It is an awesome knife, and I'm not getting paid to say this. Go check it out. Eugene Krabs, thank you you're the man. I know where this is going, Eugene. This is for my retirement forge, and I appreciate that so much. And since we're talking about Spartan Blades, I'm going to salute you with a different Spartan Blades knife. Also designed by an awesome designer and dude in general, Bill Harsey Jr. This is Bill Harsey's. This is the Harsey Spartan Kukri, and Bill Harsey, what a dude! I've been trying to get him back on the show forever, and I reach out to him, and he's so pleasant, so awesome, and also very non-committal. But he'll also comment on this show and other shows and say, "Oh, I like what you said about." Like when I did the show about how great washers are, he thought that was awesome. I'm like, that's great. Come back on the show. But anyway, that guy is so cool. He's a man among men and comes from a logging family. I mean, that shows true American grit, a logging family. And then if you follow Bill Harsey Jr. on Instagram, you can see all of his designs, and he's a draftsman. He does it all by hand with pencil on paper, and they are beautiful. There are beautiful mechanical drawings of his designs. That handle here, especially right around the ricasso, you can see this right here in the Gerber Rock. That is a knife also designed by Bill Harsey in the 90s, and it was not custom, the opposite. It was a budget knife that you could get at Walmart and all those kind of places for a long time. Had a rubber handle, great drop point blade shape, but it had this echoes of Bill Harsey. This sort of area right here runs throughout his designs, fixed blade designs. I think is beautiful. I think everything he does is beautiful and recognizable as his own. So Eugene, this is to you. Thank you so much, sir. I greatly appreciate that. Wow. Ferocious knife. This is not only an outstanding outdoors tool. If you look at, say, Gideon's Tactical, he takes this thing up into the Rockies and bangs on it, does a great job, but it would also make a ferocious weapon. if you needed to fight with this, heaven forbid. But it's a kukri, and that's what it was built for. So, Craig Vincent, no worries though. I consoled myself by buying a Clydesdale during a live event. What the hell is that? Jim Wells, Slockmaster. I confess I don't know who Tim. Oh, Tim Wells is. Wait, I think he's a hunter buddy of Lynn Thompson. Now I'm confused. Clydesdale. I feel like I've heard of that recently. Clydesdale. Well, we all know Clydesdale is a big draft horse, but didn't a big knife come out called the Clydesdale? Maybe it's a sheep's foot. No, that wouldn't make sense. Oh, here it is. Slockmaster. I want to call it Schlockmaster, like Yiddish. Schlock is, but I don't know. Are these darts for a blowgun? Huh. Look at that. Damn. He filled that beast with a spears. Oh man. Oh, cool. All sorts of like alternate hunting equipment. Well, I mean, if you can, I guess you can't call a spear an alternate hunting apparatus. It's been like that for, eons. I guess the gun is kind of the alternate at this point. Romeo Jr. Tupas, good to have you here, Romeo. Greetings from the Philippines. Awesome to have you, sir. I carry a TKL Knives Nightshade Reverse Tonto. Nice choice there, man. Looking forward to the Agent series. Looks very good as another EDC tool. Thank you so much, Romeo. I appreciate that. And maybe as you can tell from the knives and the swords on the wall, I have an affinity for your culture's blades and martial arts. So it's not only good to have you here just because it's you, but also I'm interested in your culture. That's all. Robert says, because I'm a fencer. Oh, cool. My daughter used to fence and then she lost interest. I appreciate the hand protection as it would be useful to parry as well as cut. So what do you think, Robert? I think the what do you call it? Pirate cutlasses are cool with the big bell guards and the short curved blades. I always loved pirate cutlasses. And then I also love the big basket hilted basket hilted broadswords that the Highlanders used with the velvet on the inside and the fully guarded hand. I just think those are so cool. What do you think of that? Robert says the nubs are unnecessary as footwork would prevent them from getting close enough to punch with the nubs. Yeah, you're assuming, Robert, that you're fighting another skilled fencer, but what if you're just fighting some Mama Luke? Have a knife day says, are you also doing Thursday night knives on Facebook Messenger? I think so. We've had an issue with Facebook that Jim remedied, and I'm not sure. Maybe it's presenting differently. I don't know because I'm a Facebook illiterate. About 100% Facebook. I'm about 95% Facebook illiterate. Stephen Clayton, I'm sorry. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, Rem Alliance, Scourge, Mini Tonto, TKL Knives, Combatant, Warthog, FMF, TS87, that's the screwdriver, FLN ×3, like you're carrying 3 FLNs, Guardian, Night Stalker, Piranha. You already mentioned the FMF, so I'm not going to recount that. Accomplice and MR1. So you only have 12 TKL knives on you? That's it? Just 12? It's either 12 or it's 9. I'm not sure if FLN X3 means like you're carrying 3 of those. But that's outstanding. You have my everlasting respect for all of the TKLs you carry or all the fixed blades you carry. Regiment blades, Colonel, Midgard's Messer mini axe, and the Crudo SD5. Do you, Clayton? I'm sorry, Stephen. Are you not equipped? But obviously you're equipped? But are you ready, willing, or practiced, or do you ever think about throwing any of these? And which ones? And like, how do you have them set up? I know a lot of people. I had a Kempo teacher in New York who was I'm just gonna say he was a very nice guy, just in case he's watching. But he, I know that he had knives back here, and he could throw them, and he showed us how to do it, and that was his like you know, and so I'm curious if you're set up that way at all, Stephen. Luck Knives, good to have you here, Mike. Yo, he says. Well, yo, right back at you, sir. Steel Sasa, good to have you here, Steel. Love your channel. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I do indeed. Will B says, Bob, I picked up one of those Spartan daggers for $65 in an auction. It didn't have the sheath though. I gotta say, well, first of all, you just make the sheath or have one made, but in the case of this Spartan dagger, the sheath is outstanding. It's nice and slim, and yet it maintains it's very slim overall, but you still have all the fixture points on both sides, which, even though I like taco sheaths better because they're more discreet and thinner, this offers you way more mounting solutions, if you will, especially if you have vests or you want to tuck it behind magazines or whatever our warrior heroes do. I think having fixture points on both sides is the way to go. Craig Vincent said Spartan Harzy is on my list. Which one? That's the thing, Craig. There's a lot to choose from, and you can go Spartan Harzy for $500 or thereabouts and get the folder, or you can go Spartan Harzy where it's a folder, but it's inexpensive because they did that the 3-inch version before they came out with the expensive 3-inch version, or you could go Spartan Harzy midline where you're getting something like this, or the fighting knife, which is kind of like a K-bar, or the Nesmuk, all with this handle, same handle. I mean, your options are if you want Spartan and Harzy together, your options are growing, and that's awesome. Pete Davidson says, I got a Combat Classic. I love that knife, and it's awesome, but it feels less durable than the ODA. Oh, interesting. I wonder why. Is that because the ODA is injection molded, all the handle stuff, and right? Isn't that right? And the Combat Classic is the stacked leather, or the maybe it's a solid micarta, but sort of bolster and bolted with a rat tail tang, that kind of thing. Yes, I'm carrying 3 FLNs, sir. The respect grows. My FLN, I know it's on the way, or maybe it's not quite on the way. It's being boxed up because I just saw, because I ordered one with the last drop, double-edged, of course. And that secondary edge isn't like cheese cutting edge, but it's comes to a 0 edge, pretty oblique, and with a hit with a strike, you could do nasty. So I'm excited about the FLN. I got the one with the metal ring, so it's a permanent ring, and I can't remember I ordered one handle material for it, and then he announced a new handle material, and I really liked the look of it. It was one of the burl types, I think, and so I had him switch it up to that. But anyway, I think it was called Battleship Burl or something. Very excited about that FLN, and I can't wait to get it and review it and show Jared. Well, give him my respect with that knife, and Tim Kelth. They're both awesome dudes. And when I get, I've decided when this is out, when the agent is out, that'll be my inaugural Porkman testing. I'm gonna test this on the Porkman, both edges. I've never made a Porkman, of course. In my case, I have easy access to a lot of bamboo. I would cut bamboo, make the skeleton out of that, or the arm, whatever it is, and then wrap some pork loin around it, 7 layers of saran wrap, and then some jeans over it, and then test slashing it. I've always wanted to do that for years, never done it. And then I just warned my wife the other night. We're hanging out, she's cooking. I love it. I love sometimes we cook together, other times I cook and she hangs out on the other side of the bar there and drinks and reads or whatever, and other times it's me. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, when the new knife comes out, I'm gonna do some Porkman testing. She's like, what's that? And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna get some bamboo and wrap some. I'm gonna get a big pork loin. I'll go to Costco, get a pork loin, wrap it around. She's like, that's gross, and I don't want denim up against my pork. I'm like, oh well, no, I'm gonna wrap it in 7 layers of, it's like epidermis, and I'll put a bag underneath. And she's like, whatever, just come up with a recipe, you dork. She didn't say that. She thinks it's cool. She does, or she wouldn't buy me all these t-shirts. Doug says, Bob, a few weeks ago, you were talking about some wood that wouldn't let oil penetrate. It's probably cocobolo. It used to be on different grips, but dust from sawing can be very dangerous to inhale. Oh, interesting. I know I talk a lot about micarta that oil won't penetrate. I don't remember the wood, which one it was. Maybe it was on one of my Civivis. I have a couple of wood handled Civivis. Robert Von Dar says, you have an excellent cutlass on your back wall. Yes, I collect cutlasses. That makes sense. And train Navy cutlass drills. That's cool. The cutlass system of the Navy, the cutlass systems of the Navies were based on basket hilt, broadsword, side sword systems. How cool. I love it. And yeah, so this one is it's actually a Dutch Kluang, if that's the pronoun, Klewang, and basically it is it's American made, but it ended up going to the Dutch Navy, but it was the 1917 or 18 or it had a number 19 something. It's not on there, but this was one of the ones that went to the Dutch. I actually have the original leather fob. I took it off of there because it's so degraded that I didn't want it to just fall off. But yeah, that thing is pretty badass, and it's got a swedge. And at one point, it seems like that swedge was sharpened. It's perfect, little clip point. There, Craig Vincent says it's just in slock in terms that it means to kill a critter. Okay, especially with a primitive weapon. You can, but can also be used to describe hunting with a gun. I've never heard that. Apparently, Tim Wells coined the term. Well, that's probably why then. That's interesting. Slock. I wanted to say schlock, and actually, growing up, schlock was a word my mom would use. Schlocky, it's schlocky, or schmaltzy. She would kind of put those in. And we're Italian. We're not Yiddish, but she would sometimes use Yiddish words. I'm not sure why. But schlock was one of them, and it meant like it's kind of like overwrought emotionally, to the point where it doesn't seem sincere. Pete Davidson says, "Hey Bob, what are your thoughts on those single finger knucks?" Hard to say, man. I don't know. Part of me feels like a single finger knuck, if it fits correctly, is probably safer than the full thing. But something I've learned is the different grips, and I talked about this not too long ago. Where the hell did I put that most? Here it is. Sorry, most knuckle dusters aren't shaped like this, and this is based on an Austro-Hungarian World War I trench knuckle duster by Station 9. And it was designed like this so they could do other things like hold their gun or manipulate, hold a knife, do other things with their hands, and they didn't have that big thing sticking here to go into the palm. You know what I mean? That palm swell. A lot of knuckle dusters will extend down from here and then have something here that butts into the palm. When you do that, when you have something like this where there's nothing there, you can maintain a natural grip and either slash with it, basically, graze with it or punch with it. But when you have something with a swell here, you're actually holding it like this below that set of knuckles so that the palm swell can butt into your palm and then your palm into your forearm. So really, you're not hitting with a natural fist. You're kind of you're doing some different stuff. And I have a pair of McNeese knuckles like that I've used on my Bob dummy now that I know how to hold them. And when you do it like that, it's a little more comfortable than trying to do it like this with that palm swell. But overall, I just don't like it because I've done so much training with a regular fist that it seems like changing my fist grip to accommodate the knuckles is not the way to go for me. Though when you're using those kind of knuckles, you're relying more on weight, the heavy metal of it, bang, more than you are counting on your awesome form as a boxer or martial artist. Pete Davidson's I'm sorry, Beach. Good to have you here, Beach. I'd love to be there. I often forgot I'm carrying a fixed blade. I often forget. Okay, well, what is it, Beach? Don't leave us on tenterhooks. What knife do you carry that's fixed blade that you forget about? Because for me, I sometimes do too. And mostly it's when I carry this or something like it. I also have this is the Beckwith Covert from Fisher Blade Co. that I was showing before. Or also I have the Amtac Northman. That was a gift from my dad that fits the pocket the same way. Somehow I pretty much forget about those. But I'm curious what fixed blade you have that you forget you're carrying. Will B says, I contacted Spartan to see if they could replace it. If I don't hear from them, I might see if Emeritus can make one. Oh, yeah. Armitus. I'm sorry. Armitus. Yeah, no doubt. Well, Spartan should be able to offer you one anyway, even if it's not like a free replacement. They should have a few on the floor they can sell you. Surely you have one in the back room. Stephen Clayton says, I have one of each FLN option. One has a metal ring, double-edged, just the tip. One nickel boron coated, so that's like not the black one, fully double-edged with Sentry grip. Okay. And the Sentry grip is a G10 add-on that you can get for a number of different TKL models that has the ring built into one side of that G10 handle slab setup. And one black Recon single edge with ring B. Well, without ring. Okay. I had a chance to check those out at Blade Show. He had some prototypes at Blade Show this past year. Excuse me. And though I liked the ringless one, it really does disappear in the hand. I found that with that kind of blade, I might be more apt to go in reverse grip. And without the ring, I felt less confident with it. That's me. That's my thing. My weird thing with rings, I'm always kind of vacillating back and forth. The only ring I'm not weird about is that one, people. Married my dream girl. I'm a lucky man. Stargazer 46 and 2. 46 and 2. All right. Good to have you here, sir. My friend just bought an Odachi samurai sword, 69-inch blade. Holy crap. 69-inch blade. What is that? 6 feet 9 inches? Is that what that is? God, I'm terrible at math. That's huge. Whatever it is, that's pretty impressive. 46 and 2. Frankie Frank, good to have you here, Frankie Frank. Greetings, fellow knife junkies. What would your favorite? Okay, I'm trying to get. What would your favorite cold steel fixed blade for an EDC? Okay, for an EDC, I'll go with ones that are currently available, obviously, because I have an old one that I like that's not available anymore. I don't say this often, but I'm not sure if they're legal in your jurisdiction, Frankie Frank. With a name like Frankie Frank, I'm not sure if you care. Just kidding. You sound like you could be a cousin. My cousin Frankie Frank, from the other side of Cleveland. So this is an older version, but they have Cold Steel has a bunch of push daggers. They're small and discreet, and I like carrying them. I think the new ones are even better. This is a little bit bulkier, but let me so EDC fixed blade, and I'm assuming you don't want a neck knife. Give me a second. Give me a second to think about this, because all of my cold steels are bigger. Like if I'm in, yeah. Oh, you're stumping me, Frankie Frank. Hold on a second, because there's like a whole size range that I go to cold steel for folders. Mostly that carryability, I go to cold steel for folders, because you can carry something. I don't have any. You can carry something relatively discreet that opens up to be huge and super strong with that triad lock. Thank you, Jim. You are a gentleman and a scholar. See, the Natchez Bowie I love, but you can't EDC that. I've heard that these mini leather necks are quite good, but to me they look like bulky handles. I did mention the roach belly, but to do that, you would have to make your own sheath, because I don't find the sheath to it to be especially EDC friendly, unless you're just going to wear it on your belt, in which case, good to go. And then you have the double agent over here on the right. That's a pretty good one, and you can actually carry that neck knife or on your belt or in the waistband, especially that sort of det cord style. I got this as a best man's gift at my friend's wedding, second wedding. Awesome, great. He married a great girl the second time, and had a great wedding. And what a cool groomsman gift that was. But it is thin and super light. Yep, it's thin and super light, and I like that. But 2 rings, that might not be your style. I'm gonna have to think on it. I'm sorry. Oh, you might check out the SRK Mini. That is actually quite mini, and I think that could carry pretty easily. There's only one drawback. I could possibly. Oh, and the Coben. I mean, you should check out the Coben for sure. That is a great Tonto. The only misgiving I have about fixed blades from Cold Steel, a lot of them have the rubberized handle, and you might find that to be a problem with clothing. You might find that it grips a little bit more than you want it to, whereas I'm just doing this to kind of test it. Whereas something like here, this is another extreme, smooth G10 just slips around and the material doesn't grip onto what you got here. So that's the long. Oh, there you go, the Coben. Thank you, Jim. That is an awesome knife. I would just go with the $50 one right there. But this one's the serrated one that someone mentioned before that they carried. That is a great knife. The thing I hate about that knife, you can remove easily. It's the boot clip. It's kind of useless, but it is a boot clip, and boot clips tend to be kind of useless because you don't want to mess up the leather of your boot with something that's super grippy. So there's something that's not very grippy at all. And to me, I'm kind of like, there's got to be a better way. Doug Bowles says, Bob, did you ever see the movie Rob Roy? Yes, I did, a long time ago. Great sword action. And Scott, yes, that was with Liam Neeson, I believe, right? I loved that movie. I saw that movie in like a long time ago. Rob Roy, thank you. That was a good. It's so hard for me to see movies these days. It's like I haven't seen them. I've been trying to watch Taxi Driver for over a month now, and I just can't. Craig Vincent says, I had another Cold Steel chef's knife arrive today. $20 worth of absolute slicey efficiency. I had a buddy try one out in his axe throwing lounge kitchen, and he said it's now his sharpest knife. How cool. Do they have serrations? I know for a while Cold Steel knives had serrations. I got to show you a couple of cool things here, because I don't want me to just meander off at the mouth and not show you these 2 sets of very cool stuff sent to me by 2 of my favorites out there. Tree Stab and Troy, do they have one in the bet? in the back room, and don't call me Shirley. Exactly. I speak jive. Spear with a sling. Lord Flesh 5. Good to have you here, Lord Flesh. Spear with a sling. Spear with a sling. What are you referring to? I think I'm spacing, but that's not outside my purview. Craig Vincent says, I tend to carry large folders in my pockets, but small fixies. I'm a 5'4" bulldog. I can trip over a long belt carried short sword. Yeah, but I bet you could also like lift people up and throw them. That's what people of your build are good for. Not good for, but I mean, in my martial arts training, yeah, the 5'4" guys scared the crap out of me. A, if I was wrestling them, they'd kill me, and B, if I was boxing them, they'd come in under my guard and uppercut me. And so, bulldog, I think is apt. Double Agent Serrated 1 is a badass. Agreed. All right, check these out. So the great and powerful Zach Wingard, I love that guy. He's so interesting, and he makes such cool weapons. He sent us, meaning Jim and myself, both of these. One to go to Jim and one to go to me. And he knew that Jim likes ice picks, and he knows that I've always wanted a dick pick. That's what these are called, the dick pick and the dick pick mini. There's also a dick pick magnum, which is huge. Very cool. But just a perfect little tool / weapon. Of course, I say weapon / tool, but this really is intended as a tool. The dick pick packs picking, piercing, prying, and percussive impact into a single item you can comfortably carry. Was designed, water jet cut, hand filed, heat treated, and finished in Pennsylvania. It is made from 1/4 inch thick 420 stainless steel and hardened to 50 Rockwell C for toughness. Be edgy. And then he wrote a personal note here. And in the personal note, he twice mentions Jim. 2 times he mentions Jim. Now, albeit his handwriting is not his handwriting takes a little bit of doing, but he mentions Jim twice. And I preferred to not notice that the first time I read it. And then I showed my wife, I'm like, look at this. This is so great. This guy sent me these 2 things in 2 sizes. So I could, and I read, I'm like, and he wrote me this nice note, and I start reading it. And I'm like, blah, 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 Jim. I'm like, blah, 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 give it to Jim. And I'm like, what? So that was selfish dream casting. I don't know what you want to call it. But I'm really psyched that Jim started without, with his Swiss Army knife, and I love that tinker, believe me. But he has acquired some cool things along the way, and now he's got his own custom Wingard Wearables mini dick pick. And this thing, both of these are great for not only all of the things he talks about, like this is great for prying. This is a percussive kind of surface, little hammer thing. This, of course, does all sorts of poking, piercing, scraping. And it comes in, I've already taken off the here. This is the sheath for the mini. He always has these alligator clips on the springy cord, and it fits right in. Put that in your waistline or in your pocket or wherever. This will go right in the pocket. This one's a bit bigger, so I put a discreet carry clip. It can go in the waistband, but you got to be careful because this is sharp. And I got to say, I spent the day walking around punching random cardboard in my office. And yeah, you just punch with this thing. Oh my goodness, you're gonna hurt something. And then of course you have this wicked spike. I gotta say, this, first of all, Zach, thank you so much. This is so generous, and Jim and I are both thrilled to have these, the dick pick and the mini dick pick. But God, I gotta say, this thing is just, lately I've been into sort of less, and I'm additionally into other things other than knives and knife adjacent melee weapons and such. And this just, This warms the cockles of my heart. And I know that I will have this with me a lot. And if it's not on my person, it'll be in my bag. And I know it's not going to go for fighting and all the stuff that I just was talking about. It will go to using this to for something, something at the office. This will go to prying something. This will go to poking something. I love it. It's an extension of the finger. And I think it's awesome. Thank you so much. Jim and I really appreciate it. Something else, another guest, Liang Ma, just sent me some knives that we're going to give away. But first, I want to check them out and do some reviews myself. But his Eutectic line, here's the EFD, everyday field duty. So he's got a famous knife in his more premium line called the Field Duty, and it has this profile. And to be 100% honest, I was always kind of like about it, but having this Eutectic, I gotta say I love this knife. I love this knife. The profile of this knife, the action. This has a great front flipper, and most knives I require to have some sort of tactability to it, or whatever you want to call it, just because that's what activates my imagination. That's where my tastes reside. But this to me is kind of like a Strider or something. This surprised me in person. I was like, that knife that I always thought was so meh in pictures ends up being so cool in person, and kind of had the reverse of this. I always thought that this clip point was so cool in pictures, and now that I have it, I like it a lot. Believe me, I think it's great, but I'm not as excited about it as I am about this one, which is a surprise to me, big surprise, because this is way more my speed in terms of design. But in any case, both are awesome. Both have about the same cutting edge, though this is a larger blade. This is called the Trinity, and these come in a host of different handle colors and blade finishes too. So I'm excited about this. We'll be giving these away in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be giving away in a couple of weeks also one of these. I was talking about this before. This is the Fisher Blades Covert, Beckwith Covert. After Chaz Fisher's interview drops on the 12th of May, he's going to come on and we're going to talk all about it. So I'm excited for that. We're going to talk about it, and then he's going to give one away that I have here in a package over there with this and some other stuff, including beef jerky, which I love. I love beef jerky. I'm in a real beef jerky phase right now. I'm like, well, if I'm at work and I tend to snack, what can I say? And I'm like, if I'm bored of eating, or I'm just snacking and I don't need it, it should be like at least something that isn't empty in terms of calories. And I'm like, what could I eat? And I was like, oh, I love beef jerky. Why not that? That's a good snack, right? Another part of me is like, yeah, but since that's a lot of red meat, I should have some red wine so that it balances out, I can't do that at work, unfortunately. Frankie Frank says, my apologies to have thrown you off, sir. Not at all. I'm like, I will check out the Coben for sure. And thank you for responding. For everyone else who responded, it's much appreciated as well. Frankie Frank, I hope you find what you're looking for, sir. But it's a great big wide world out there, and lots of great. I don't know why I drew a blank on Cold Steel small fixed blades, because I tend to go for the these Cold Steel fixed blades, which how cool would it be to EDC this? And also this to me looks a little swashbuckling too. So Arizona Pancake, nice to have you here, sir. My favorite Cold Steel fixed blade is the Mini Tack Bowie. Okay, I love that one. Super handy little knife. I never leave home without it. That is a good one, Frankie Frank. I should have mentioned that. We were all talking Mini Tacks not long ago. It's about a 3.5-inch blade, great Bowie shape, excellent, super ergonomic handle, but a small handle, so it's not in the way no matter where you have it, neck knife or in the waistband or whatever, in the pocket. That is a great option. Thank you so much for recommending that. Start there, because it's also inexpensive, like $25. Can't go wrong. It's like parking on a weekend. Pete Davidson says, I've been experimenting. So stay in and buy knives instead of going out and parking. Yeah, man. Pete says, I've been experimenting with a single knock on my middle finger with good results. Just been holding back because of an old injury. Yeah, you don't want to mess up your fingers. That's the worst. Well, it's not the worst, but that would be bad. Here's another Wingard wearables item that protrudes from the fingers and would make, doesn't change the fist at all, and would be a positively devastating thing to have in your fist when you're punching someone, or back fisting or hammer fisting or whatever. Wearing the knuckle on the middle finger lets me close my fist in a more natural way, and the steel knuck seems to balance better. So I'm assuming not too much on that end, on the palm end, so you can make a natural fist. Adrian says, yes, the Kobun boot clip sucks. I wear Doc Martens, so also wrap the lace around real tight. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call. We were just talking about Doc. I was interviewing someone at work who's a boot guy, and we were talking about boots. And because I wear Iron Ranger sometimes, and he had noticed the last time I interviewed him. We were updating. I was getting an update on boots from a boot guy, and he was talking about Doc Martens got sold to some company who is making them a little bit differently, but now someone's trying to buy them back and make them the old school way, whatever. But I always like Docs. I always love the like the 6-inch like maroon. I always had maroon ones. I thought they were cool. Craig Vincent says the serrated Kobun currently $32.21. That's the thing. Anyone who's still listening, Frankie Frank, Chicago Knife Works is the best place to buy cold steel. So is Midway, is also good. Midway USA. They always have the best, lowest prices on cold steel. Arizona Pancake says, one of my go-to truck knives is the cold steel Warcraft Tonto 12-inch in 4034 stainless steel with Zytel handles. I got it for a stellar price of $75 at Midway. It was on sale. Totally worth it. Yeah, and the Warcraft Tonto is cool. You got the Tonto blade, but a different, first of all, you got the full tang construction, and you have a different sort of contoured handle than you see on most cold steels. I always thought they were interesting. I never got a Warcraft Tonto. I shouldn't say never, because I could still go out and do that. That still might happen. David Helka, good to have you here, David. I feel like the holes could be a little smaller. Oh, on the Eutectics? It must be that, because they're immense. Yeah, probably. The thing that doesn't happen, which has happened on other knives, though I can't think of what they are, is your fingers, your thumb and your finger don't get bound up in the hole. They are big. They're audaciously large and definitely a style, a point, but they don't bind up the finger, at least not mine. So if that's any consolation. Hey, Maximus Knives, good to have you here. I carry a fixed blade Mamba. Awesome. It's so funny. So I bought my wife a Maximus Knives Mamba when I met him down in Conroe, Texas, at the Texas Custom Knife Show. I bought my wife one, and then talking about it, I was like, I want to order one with the fancy handle and the blue and the you had one that was all teal. What I was thinking I was going to give her that, because I bought her another Maximus Mamba. She loves the size. It's perfect. It's a great blade for stabbing and slashing, but it's small, and she likes to carry it when she goes to New York City. And so when I got her the Tiffany model version of it, thank you very much. It's a beautiful knife. I was thinking she would just sort of give me the other one. But that's where I was thinking incorrectly. Sometimes we think like everyone thinks like us, like, oh, everyone loves their children, so why would they do that? That's not true. People do stuff that you can't imagine, like not give me a knife when I've given them almost the same thing, an even better version of what they already have. So didn't happen. But I know where she lives. I know where she keeps her knives. I could just grab it and put it around my neck or in my pocket. Actually, I prefer the Mamba, though it would be a good neck knife. But I prefer it just dropped in the pocket or in the waistband with the det cord. Yeah, go check out Maximus Knives, by the way, and check out my interview. We had an awesome conversation, and yeah, he's making some really sweet stuff. And actually, those large Mambas are red hot. So check him out. Before we get out of here, I want to show one quick thing. Peter Carey knife with We. Now, I love Peter Carey's designs. Peter Carey, if you don't know him, we did the podcast with him. He is an old school. I shouldn't say old school. Well, he's kind of old school, but he's one of the first guys, custom knife makers, making custom folding tactical knives. Here is his collaboration with Monterey Bay Knives. This is his turbo model. So these might look familiar. He's a very famous knife maker, and he did the Rubicon and one other one whose name I forget with Spyderco, but mostly he's been a custom maker. But he did this with Monterey Bay Knives. This thing is exquisite. Talk about perfectly, beautifully tuned action. And then this one I sent to Lindy Lou and Richie of Knife Modders, and I wanted that sort of high voltage green, make it look a little bit like the Statue of Liberty, and then the acid stone wash blade with the dark wash. But now I want to have them do that to this. I keep not sending it out, but I want the black, more discreet clip on this because that gold just kind of shines. But what a great knife. Peter Carey, anyway. He is doing one now with We knives, and it looks pretty damn sweet. This is the full-sized version of the Nitro. The Nitro they did a while back that was smaller. This one's a bolster lock. Comes in a variety of carbon fibers. And then, of course, it comes in as 20 CV, a big favorite of We knife. But look at that blade. I'm sorry, but that blade is so nice with that swedge. And then you can see if you look at the turbo down here in the bottom left, and then you look at that knife, you can see the family resemblance. Even this one has a cool swedge, that sort of bayonet swedge there with the thumb ramp. Just beautiful. And I'm excited to see him doing this with We. This it adds a thumb stud to it. I think We is awesome. I just don't have any of their knives. I have a few knives that they OEM'd when they were doing that. I'm not sure if they do that anymore, but for niche designs and for off-grid knives, and they're great. And so to see them doing a Peter Carey, I'm very excited about. Anyone interested in that? Do you guys collect We? Anyone here in my audience or in this current audience like We knives and collect them? I mean, I like them. I have major respect. I just don't have a collection. Or now Civivis, I got a number of them. I do love them. Low Country Hillbilly, good to have you here, Low Country. Hey, Bob and Jim, glad I caught you tonight. I can't stop myself with Mixer and Rosecraft. Lately bought the Nola Chucky. Yeah, that's a cool one. And the Briar Patch this week, and a Momo. Love that, Carrie. What is the Momo? I know it's the Missouri Monster. That's their Sasquatch thing. But what knife is the Momo? And couldn't stop myself with Mixer and Rosecraft. I have a feeling that that's a typo with Mixer. And I hear you about the Rosecraft. Man, they're so good. The knives are so good, and they're inexpensive, so it's easy to just like buy them all. Or maybe not easy, but tempting, I guess I should say. I have kind of slipped out of my slip joint phase, but I think the Briar Patch Jack is the one that's calling me back. I'm fascinated by a Rosecraft double-bladed knife. Michael Young, I've been carrying the, well, Michael Young, good to have you here, sir. I don't think I greeted you, but I've been carrying the Odin Wolf Sow Catcher as my fixed blade work knife. It's light and carries good. Michael, what do you do, man? I love that knife. As a matter of fact, I didn't pull it out tonight. I was playing with it earlier, but that is such a beautiful knife. It reminds me of the cartoon version of The Hobbit from the 70s. That version of the Sting sword, not Bilbo. Yeah, Bilbo's sword, Sting. It looks just like that, except Sting from the comic book from that movie had a little finger guard. But other than that, it's got the same blade. Pretty cool. Maximus Knives, I've been doing some frame locks finally as well. Yes, I've been noticing those. Those are really cool. Sort of front flipping and really nice looking in terms of materials and stuff. Love the Magnitude, says Low Country Hillbilly. Magnitude, that's what it is. That was his follow-up. Peter Carey's follow-up design to the Rubicon for Spyderco. Fernando, yes, I have a few wee knives. I want the wee black cow. That is the one I want. If any of you have it out there and you want to sell it to me, I'd love to buy it from you. Dave, this old sword, has one, and he loaned it to me. And oh my God, I covet it. It's so cool. That's a Miguel Barbudo design. Stephen Clayton says, I have a couple of wee Civivi knives, Orthrus Incisor 1 and 2. That's a very cool knife. That's a karambit, and they did 2 versions of it, and I think the second one was done by Civivi, if I'm not mistaken, and a few others. Very cool. Yeah, Civivi is my favorite, actually. I like them better than we. I only have one wee knife, the Kulex. Oh, that's a clip point, I think. I think that's the clip point. I like that knife, says Pitt. How you doing, Pitt? Good to have you here with us. In the last 3 minutes, we're about to bail here, gentlemen. Michael Young, good to have you here, Michael. Work in a train yard, lots of meth and animals. Jeez. So I'm guessing you carry something like, let's see, for meth and animals? Something like this. I'm guessing that's what you carry. Low Country Hillbilly says, I'm liked the last Tashi we did with a carbon fiber inlay. He did with the let me start that again. I liked the last Tashi we did with the carbon fiber inlays. Yeah, anything Tashi, to me, he's just he's an amazing designer and just a cool dude. He just I follow him on Instagram, and here's a cool dude. He's got a some sort of really sophisticated job outside of knife design. I'm not sure I can't remember what it is, but he's just a cool and classy dude. And he just took like a trip through New York City with his 2 sons, going like 5 days of different steakhouses, like rating steaks. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's cool. That's just a cool thing to do if you've got the means. Pitt says, hi all, I've been lurking. Pitt, good to lurk. You're always welcome to lurk here. Craig Vincent says, I have a bunch of Civivis and Sencuts, but I don't have a single Wii. I almost bought a Ziphius last week on Blade. What the hell is it? Blade Binge. Love the Ziphius. Love that thing. Sorry, I swear my phone is hacked. It's impossible to type. I know you got the fat thumbs like me. Like skinny everywhere else except my thumbs. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Thursday Night Knives. Now, on Sunday, it's our 500th edition of the Knife Junkie podcast. And when I say 500th, that does not include Thursday Night Knives. That's just the Sunday interview show where I talk to a knife maker, designer, reviewer, manufacturer, or military operator type, and the Wednesday midweek supplemental where I talk about new knives and knives in my collection and things in the offing and that kind of stuff. So 500 of those episodes. Very excited. So we have a special episode lined up for this Sunday. So be sure to check that out, and then come right back and join us on Wednesday for the midweek supplemental. All right, people. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.